mechanism and a sustainable one. Then I just want to open them and quickly, because we have others, is that I think digital finance can also contribute a lot to bring more finances. So I'm here bringing some elements from the consultative group to assist the poor that reviewed the work of 25 organizations across different regions. And they saw that digital finance can reduce collection costs, increase revenue, increase customer reach, increase accountability, which is essential to bring accountability, auditable transaction, and enable better service. They can even bundle it with finance. So all these digital finance can contribute to the 3 pillars of the WASAC. It can contribute to increase value, decrease cost, secure payment of water services so that can bring more private sector actors in the scheme, and build trust among actors for increased investment. We've also seen examples during the week, for instance, about how South Africa is leveraging digital finance payment for water to use behavioral innovation to showcase who is not contributing. So here they brought a number of examples, and here we've seen Kenya how they've used digital financing to bring private and public sectors and use blend finance to increase the access of water to different people, including the rural poor. So blended finance can unlock investment by mitigating the early stage risk of investing in water, and it can help build water trust, guarantees, and result-based. Quickly, that just to evoke, like at lunch, there was an initiative of the tropical landscape, the 1000 landscape system, and you can see in blue, their main innovation also is to bring digital landscape action platform. So how we can use innovative finance and landscape to bring actors. So I think I've talked enough. So just as conclusion, if you want to bring people into this kind of mobilizing finance, the process is key. We need inclusive process, we need to build trust, and we need to have a phased approach. So I won't talk about it, but this is the scaled approach that is presented in this WASAC framework.
Thank you really for providing us this menu, this dessert menu here for us on different financing mechanisms that can be explored. And I think it'd be very interesting to dig deeper in it and really see on where the opportunities here for countries wanting to move forward with their drought plan, moving from planning to implementation, and where IFAD and others can help with the different ideas that you've brought there. You mentioned the issue of trust, which I think is important in moving forward, and the issue about risk transfer solution. And that is a perfect segue to our next speaker. It's Dr. Jean-Claude Bidogeza, who's a lead economist at the African Risk Capacity based in Johannesburg. He is, before joining ARC, he was a strategic advisor for the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources under technical assistance support of the World Bank to the government of Rwanda. He holds a PhD in agriculture business economics from Wageningen University and has been a visiting scientist at Georgia University in the US. So without further ado, please, Jean-Claude, the floor is yours. Enlighten us on ARC. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to extend my gratitude to UNCCD for inviting us once more to share with the audience the African Risk Capacity Insurance Mechanism. So as I share with you this morning, the narrative behind the establishment of the African Risk Capacity is very simple. So many of the speakers during this UNCCD COP14 emphasize to the fact that the frequency and the magnitudes of extreme weather is going to be gradually increasing a lot with an economic impact that will be very huge. So the current system of responding to the disaster are basically the international organization, humanitarian actors, make an appeal. By the time that people, donors or multilateral development banks respond to the appeal, take quite a number of months. And by then, there is a household, they start to sell their productive assets, also with consequences of chronic hunger. So the next, my next slide, I'll be skipping a number of slides. So this slide is showing a response mechanism at the household level, at the humanitarian level and at the African capacity risk assurance level. So by the time rain fail, the household level in the period of pre-harvest is starting to eat less preferred foods. The following month is starting to borrow, and then later on, to reduce the food intake. So the current emergency responses, so by the time there is a fail of rain, they made an assessment, and that period can take 3 months. After 3 months, there is an appeal. The appeal can take 6 months. So by experience, we have already some insurance business on the ground. So the African risk capacity, it forecasts the trends of rain. So by the time it estimates the impact, and the impact trigger the payments. So in the next 2-3 weeks, we disperse the payment to the country. So basically, how the African risk capacity responds to the occurrence of disaster. So the interventions of the African risk capacity is a bundle in one, 3 components are bundled in one ecosystem. The first one is the earlier warning mechanism through risk modeling by jointly with the country to identify the risk, to quantify the risk, and to help them to understand the risk they are facing. Secondly, that component is linked to a very critical component, the contingency planning mechanism. We cannot accept a country to embark in our mechanism without a proper contingency planning mechanism. Once there is an event that trigger a payment, we have to make sure that the contingency planning mechanism in place will be helping the provided payout to get to the population affected. So finally, once we have built the capacity to the countries to identify the risk they are facing, we build jointly the contingency planning. So if a country may decide to go further, to transfer some of the risk to us, and we help them to transfer those risks to international markets. So this is just I want to share with you the legal and the institutional arrangement of the African risk capacity. There is an entity that is offering public goods. That entity has the status of a specialized agency of the African Union. So that agency provides, we have the responsibility of research and development, policy and advocacy. The work I'm doing now is under the agency. And also we have the operational monitoring on the ground. So the insurance company carry out the insurance function of an insurance. Is the one offering policy insurance to countries. So far, we have 33 countries that have signed the treaty establishing the African risk capacity mechanism. And those countries constitutes the African Risk Capacity Conference of Parties, which is the high body overseeing African risk capacity activities. So basically, this slide summarizes the process of African member state participation in the African risk capacity. So countries become members of the African Risk Capacity Agency through signing the establishment of agreements. Member states sign the MOU to receive the capacity building and the component of which is to work with the African Risk Capacity Agency to customize the African risk view models and they develop the contingency planning. And then later, once the country have developed the contingency planning, so the African Risk Capacity Board review the contingency plan and they issue the certificate of good standing. So basically, since we start our insurance operation business, we have been conducting 99 scoping mission. to engage with countries, to help countries to define their risk profile, and also to put in place the contingency planning. So currently we have 24 memorandum of understanding, meaning that we have active work with 24 countries in Africa. And there is in 20 countries, there is what we call the technical working group. The technical working group is a platform bringing together all the departments dealing with the disaster risk management. Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Disaster Risk Management, the insurance regulatory bodies, the Ministry of Finance, the Central Bank, and so forth. So currently we have ongoing country engagement in 19 countries where we are helping countries to build their risk profile. So this is some of the achievements so far in